I was kind of surprised when Steve invited me to speak here, since this was an SEO meetup.
And he's missing.
So, but whatever, I know the subject pretty well. If you know a lot about crypto, you may know some of this already, but if not, this could be pretty educational. From what I can figure out, only about 3% of the population really knows a lot about this. So hopefully when you leave, you'll be up in that 3 or 4% bracket up there with them. But just so you know who I am, I started my first e-commerce site in '96. Everybody told me I was an idiot, that people wouldn't buy stuff on the internet. And I guess I'm glad I didn't listen to them. I started my first podcast in 2004. I was probably one of the first 100 podcasters on the planet. 2006, Time Magazine chose my website as one of the 50 coolest websites in the world. 2016, I went into the Podcast Hall of Fame, like Don said. And then last year, City of Arlington, Texas, named March 1st Gary Leland Day. That's my birthday. So that was kind of cool. And if you're taking notes, I'm filming this presentation, and it'll be on my website, GaryLeland.com. So feel free to take notes, but if you miss something, don't worry. You can catch it on the website, and I'm going to video it. And this is me a couple years ago, and when I was real fat. So I weighed about 350 pounds. And I was a fat guy, which I'm not anymore, but I'm also not a financial advisor either. This is not investment information I'm giving you. I'm just giving you my thoughts and stuff. But I put that picture up there because that was 352 and I'm 198 now, so I was kind of excited about that. My wife didn't want me putting that up there. She was, how could you put that big fat picture?
Hey, that's motivation, brother. You should be trotting that thing out when you feel
I am. That's what I figured. I figured I should be able to show that off. That was a lot of work. It took me a long time and a lot of work. But first of all, Bitcoin is not a real coin. I think probably everybody here knows that. I spoke at a place yesterday for a senior citizen event, and they really didn't know that. I took this and I flipped it and made like I lost it. And they really thought I lost like $15,000. So Bitcoin is not a real coin. I get sick of all those TV shows now that talk about Bitcoin and they show that coin up there, and people are really thinking there's a coin involved with it. But normally when you ask someone what a Bitcoin is, they're asking a question about something they don't know. The answer you normally hear is it's a cryptocurrency. So people usually answer your question what a Bitcoin is with something else that you don't know what it is for the most part. So I'm over the big thing. If you're like describing someone what Bitcoin is, don't say it's a cryptocurrency because they have no idea what that is either. So you're just confusing them more. But that's the confusion from hearing the answer, cryptocurrency. My wife says it's magical internet money. That's what she claims, that we're just making magical internet money. Until we cashed them in, actually, she didn't believe me that we could actually get it back. I had to actually cash some in, put it back in the bank account for her to be comfortable with it. It's not monopoly money either. That's also what she says. But Bitcoin is a monetary system based on math and cryptography. It's open source and transparent, and it runs on a peer-to-peer basis. You may still be confused a little on that. If you are, it's really... I think the best way that people seem to understand when I'm trying to describe Bitcoin is it's like stocks and the fact that it goes up and down, and it's like money and the fact that you can spend it. So if you can kind of think of those two things, that's more or less what Bitcoin is. When I say Bitcoin, I'm also meaning cryptocurrencies because there's a lot of, I'm not meaning Bitcoin by itself, I'm meaning cryptocurrencies. Bitcoin itself is more like a store of value. It's not, you don't see people buying stuff with Bitcoin as much as they would other currencies. It's like a digital gold is another way people put it. Is it Winklevoss? Winklevoss twins? They call it digital gold. I thought that was a good term when I saw them interviewed. So I took that term from them. But the first Bitcoin was created January 3rd, 2009, when the economy was in the toilet, the banks were in trouble. That's when the first coin was invented. And I'm just going to go through 10 things that I think you need to know about Bitcoin or are interesting about Bitcoin. So that's where we're going to start this off at, 10 things about Bitcoin. Number one, it was invented by Satoshi Nakamoto. That's the person who invented Bitcoin. And who is Satoshi Nakamoto? Nobody knows. Nobody knows if it's a guy, if it's a girl, if it's a group of people, if it's an alien from another planet. No one has any idea who that is. But they do know he kept 1 million Bitcoin. So the first million were his. Whoever he is, he hasn't cashed them in yet, and he is worth over $20.5 billion US right now. His value of Bitcoin, the forks of Bitcoin, you got free Bitcoin Cash, you got free Bitcoin Gold, you got $20.5 billion. That was as of a couple of days ago. So whoever he is, he's a rich person if he decides to start cashing in his Bitcoin, which he hasn't done as of yet from what I understand. Next thing about Bitcoin, number 2, there can only be 21 million Bitcoin ever. They can't make any more. That's all there can be. It's a fixed amount. And that's what a lot of people like about Bitcoin is they know it's not like the dollar. They can't print more of them or like any fiat currency. That's all there can be are the one amount, 21 million Bitcoin. 1,800 Bitcoin are mined per day, are created per day. And that mining is a whole other thing which we'll get into in a little bit. But I did want to go over that now that 1,800 of them are made a day. And that amount drops in half every 4 years. So in about 2 more years, it'll drop to 900 Bitcoin a year. And then 4 years later, it'll drop to 450 a day. And it drops and drops and drops and drops with the last Bitcoin being created in October the 8th, approximately, of 2140. And we'll all be gone. That's when the last Bitcoin, and I guess those last ones are going to be kind of expensive by the time they start mining those last ones. So that's when the rest of them are mined. And like I said, we'll get into mining. Let's just call it creating for now. That's why my wife calls it magical internet money, because it's still created. Now, Bitcoin is operated by the users, not by institutions. Normal currencies made with the help of a third party, which in our case are banks. The thing about banks is, and this is people ask why crypto is worth so much, kind of getting off topic here. If you looked at a map of the earth and every bank on the planet was a light bulb, you ever see those pictures from space of all the lights? And if it was just the banks were lit up, like Australia, North America, and Europe would be really lit up bright. But South America, lots of Asia and Africa is really dark. A lot of people don't have banks, to go to. And that's a lot of places where Bitcoins are really popular. Bitcoin transactions are made peer-to-peer, directly from one person to another, like I said, without the use of a bank. They're made directly from one user to another. Bitcoins are stored in wallets, not banks. And that's getting to what I was saying earlier about South America and Africa where they don't have banks easy to access. You don't need to create bank accounts to store your Bitcoin. You can create a digital wallet and store your Bitcoin safely on your digital wallet. If anyone gets any questions asked, you're not going to interrupt me. I got a lot of slides. I'm going through these fast, so I'm happy to answer questions. Yeah.
The 21 million is the million that Satoshi holds a part of that? Or
that's part of that. Yeah, it's part of the 21 million. So you take his out. Well, we'll go into that in a minute. Great. Now, wallets can be a lot of ways to protect you. You can have paper wallets. You can have mobile wallets on your phone. You can have desktop wallets. You can have offline wallets, which are USB devices usually. And crypto wallets really hold your crypto keys. Now, there's 2 types for wallets, things that some people get confused with. They're public keys and they're private keys. Okay, and that's kind of important. I was watching this guy talk the other day, and this was real interesting. I watch a lot of YouTube now on crypto because I'm kind of want to do a mass learning process. So every night I come home and watch like an hour or hour or 2 of YouTube on crypto. And there's this guy on there teaching this course on crypto. I don't know what his name is, nor do I care, but I was shocked because I'd never seen him before. And he had this course that you could buy for $4,500 on how to be really successful at doing crypto. And it was a YouTube Live, and people were asking questions, and someone said, what's the difference between a public key and a private key on your wallet? And this guy charging $4,000, over $4,000 to teach you Bitcoin, didn't know the answer to that. And he goes, I really don't know what that means, but I don't think that's real important. And I go, wow, this guy is charging $4,000 to teach people how to do crypto, and he doesn't know this. Now let me tell you what this is. This is a private key here. This is your key. You have a QR code, which you can scan with your phone with the proper thing, and you can send Bitcoin to someone. This public key here is the key you give to people if they want to give you crypto. This public key, private key, is like your password, okay? And he didn't know the difference between the public key and the private key, and didn't think it was very important. To put it in the other terms, your Bitcoin address is like an email address, okay, your public address. And you have an email server, and you have a Bitcoin client or wallet, but your private key is like a password to your email. Now, you certainly wouldn't give anyone your password to your email. You give them your email address to send you an email, just like you'd send them your public address to send you Bitcoin. So you really need to be really careful. There are a lot of people out there that don't know what they're doing, and I'm not saying I'm a genius, but I know at least ways what a public and private key is. Don't ever give anyone, even if someone's helping you, assisting you, never give them your private key. That's just like I said, it's just like giving them your password email. That's just saying, hey, take my money, and there's nothing I can do about it, because there's no way to get it back. This isn't the bank helping you. You're on your own with this stuff. There's no one to call and get your money back, if you make a mistake. So that is more security in the bank that they will help you. You're on your own on this stuff. Whenever you do set up a wallet, normally they'll give you a 12-word backup phrase. And this is a way to get back in here's a great story, and this is such good timing. I got a neat Facebook message last night from someone, the guy at my local 7-Eleven. He gives me free coffee because I will answer his questions about Bitcoin. So I make $60 a month in free coffee off this thing. That's my biggest paying gig, maybe. But anyway, he called me last night, or he messaged me on Facebook when I dropped my phone in the toilet. How can I get my Bitcoin back? And I said, well, do you have that 12-word backup phrase they gave you, or the backup phrase they gave you? He goes, I'm not sure if I have that or not. And I said, well, I sure hope you wrote it down, because that's what the instructions say. But he found it, so he was able to reset up his wallet, resync his wallet. So if you do set up a wallet somewhere, write this down. Don't put it online. Don't take a screenshot of it on your phone. Physically write it down and put it someplace safe. So if something happens, someone steals your phone and you got $1,000 on there and you have to wipe your phone with a remote, you can still set up a new wallet. Okay, so that's real important for everybody. Yeah. You have a question?
So if somebody has to, if I have to send somebody has to send me a Bitcoin,
Yes.
I have to send the email address.
Right. If someone says, hey, I want to buy something from you,
Publicly.
you would give them the public key. And then that's the address they're going to send the money to. And then you can use your private key to access it, basically. Okay. Bitcoin owners are by default anonymous, so no one knows who they are. You can find out if someone's using an address, what their address is, and then you could, I guess, backtrack and find out what they made. You see public addresses, but you don't see the owner's names, is basically what I'm saying. During each transaction, the wallet IDs are represented, but not the Bitcoin owner's name. So if I said, hey, send me money to my Bitcoin address, you can look that up and you can see the Bitcoin that I've gotten that's gone to my address. But unless I told someone, no one would ever know what my address was or how much Bitcoin I had. A Satoshi is the smallest unit of a Bitcoin. And I bring this up because a lot of people are confused on Bitcoin. They go, wait a second, I don't have $14,700 to buy a Bitcoin. And that's how much a Bitcoin costs. Well, you don't have to buy a Bitcoin. A Satoshi, and that's named after Satoshi the inventor, is like 4 Satoshis in a penny. Okay? So a Bitcoin can be divided up to 100 millionth of a part. So it's 0.00001. So you don't have to buy 14,000. You can buy a tenth of a Bitcoin, a hundredth of a Bitcoin, a thousandth of a Bitcoin, a millionth of a Bitcoin, whatever you want to buy. So you don't have to invest $14,000 in a Bitcoin. And just for information, these are the names of Satoshi, the smallest, micro Bitcoin, a millibitcoin, a cent of Bitcoin, and then a Bitcoin are the names for the different sizes of Bitcoin. The Bitcoin network is considered unhackable because it's protected by military-grade cryptography, and it also uses blockchain technology. So it is considered, we'll go into that in a little bit. The $1 Million Pizza, has everybody heard of this? Yeah, so this is pretty good. In 2010, someone bought 2 pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoin. This was the first real transaction of something that was made with Bitcoin, is these 2 pizzas. Now, I don't know if the guy kept the money, the Bitcoin, for the pizzas he got. Those pizzas were worth, in today's terms, $128 million. So those were some expensive pizzas. I hope they had a lot of extra toppings on them, at least some mushrooms and anchovies. But I just think that's an interesting fact. Like I said, it's the first physical item bought, considered first physical item bought with Bitcoin. And in 2013, someone threw away a hard drive with 7,500 Bitcoin on it, because it was only 50 cents a Bitcoin or something probably at the time, when big deals. Computer crashed, we just threw it away. Now today, those are worth $97 million. for those Bitcoin internet computers.
So, quick question. So those Bitcoins that are trashed in a hard drive are out of circulation forever.
Right.
So there's less than 21 million.
Yes,
Minus, okay.
you're correct.
So if people randomly lose them, there's less out there.
You're correct. His are lost forever. Unless he, I imagine, I don't know if those things get worth a couple of billion. Would someone rent that dump from the city for 5 years and get in there and start plowing through there? I don't know. And the Bitcoin network of nodes is the largest computing program network on the planet. Okay, that's the last thing I have there in the top 10. The Bitcoin network consists of millions of computers linked and working together, basically. Now, as I said, there can only be 21 million Bitcoin ever made. You know, we got that established. And there are 16 million and change right now. Okay, so there's 16 millions out right now, and the rest will be finishing up in the year 2140. But out of that 16 million, yeah.
So why did they go with that number? I mean,
I have no idea. If you find this dude right here, you can ask him.
That guy took $1 million and could put 20 out there.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess it's time to do 20 because I was making 21.
Nice
And
round
I'll
number.
take $1 million from me.
Yeah.
So 16 million at this time. We've said that Satoshi Nakamoto has $1 million. They believe 4 million are lost forever. So it's more than that guy's 7,500 lost. So they believe there's 4 million lost forever. So that leaves 11 million available right now. So when people do their math as to how much there is available, it's a lot less than people think. But this 11 million, that's really wrong. That's an incorrect amount. I mean, even though the math would say there's 11 million left, that's a really wrong amount because of hodlers. There are a lot of hodlers. I'm a hodler. Tony's a hodler. I bet Casey's a hodler back there. No, you're not a hodler? Okay. There are a lot of hodlers, though, right? And hodlers are people, it's a slang for people who are keeping their crypto waiting for bigger gains. They don't want to sell it. Every time I've sold some crypto, I kind of gotten upset. It was worth more later. And actually, someone made a typo of the word hold on a forum. And typed it HODL, and that became the word hodl. And hodl means holding on for dear life. With the ups and downs of Bitcoin, you're holding on for dear life, just hoping that longer term. You know, I was telling John earlier tonight, though, you are holding on, and this really can be nerve-wracking, but when you buy crypto, after a while, if you are a hodler, after a while, you know, you've made, your investment has gone up 3, 4 times, you know, maybe 5 times. And then when it drops in half, you're really not as worried about it as we were for the people who bought like a month ago at $19,000. They've really panicked because it's dropped down to $14,000. You know, when you're in that situation on it, you're holding on for dear life if you're holding. But once it goes up, if you bought it at $5,000 and it's up at $15,000, well, it drops to 15 from 20, but hey, I'm still up 10,000. You know, so your comfort level on hodling or holding on for dear life depends on how much value you have in there, how much of a buffer you have from when you bought it to what it is now. And I'm also a hodler. You know, I'm holding on for dear life. So really, there are about 6 million Bitcoin available if you do the subtraction of the hodlers, Satoshi, what been long. That's what's on the open market right now, are 6 million Bitcoin. Now there are other, I have over 1,000 cryptocurrencies are available, but from what I understand now, that's like 1,370 as of today or something. That's pretty close to it. So there are a lot of cryptocurrencies to choose from. Bitcoin is just one. It's the name people know. And a lot of these currencies do different things. Some of them are versions of Bitcoin. Some are made to do different items. Maybe smart contracts like Ethereum's made to do, or faster transfer times, or whatever. The 3 biggies that most people know are Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Litecoin. And people go, how do I know what to do? There's 1,000 cryptos out there. And it's kind of like for, you know, the market cap of $751 billion, which one do I buy? Well, it's kind of like stock. You got to just do your research. You wouldn't walk in, most people wouldn't walk in to the stock market and say, give me $500,000 worth of Facebook stock. You know, they're going to spread it around. So you might want to do some due diligence. Basically, do your research, is all I'm saying. But there, you know, a lot of people made money with Ripple last week. You know, Ripple was 79 cents last week. It went up to $3, and now it's back down to around $2. It's starting to drop again. So, you know, a lot of people get in that. I'm not a day trader for the most part myself, you know. But a lot of people are, and a lot of them make money. I'm not smart enough to do that for the most part. How do you spend Bitcoin? That's a question I get asked a lot also. Is how do I spend this magical internet money? You can get a debit card. If you want to spend your crypto, I have one right here. If I take this card, it's a Visa card, I can go to any credit card terminal anywhere and buy anything I want, just like I would with any debit card, and it takes out my Bitcoin and pays the people with US dollars. So there's the easiest way to spend your Bitcoin if you are not a hodler, if you want to spend your Bitcoin. This syncs up to my Bitcoin account. And it's kind of like when you go to Europe with a US credit card, they don't get paid in dollars, they get paid in euros. It automatically transfer to euros. They don't like in the morning go, oh, I made 20 sales yesterday. Oh, what are those US dollars? What am I going to do with those dollars? They're all euros that they get. And the same thing with this. So we go, oh, I got 19 sales for US dollars and this Bitcoin sale. What am I going to do with that? It pays them in dollars. It converts it. Do you have a question?
Yeah, Gary, sorry, I've been in and out a few times. Is there a central point for the conversion rate? I mean, if you're paying for something,
We'll go with that in a minute.
are you okay?
Yeah, you're a little ahead of me there. But you can do that, or you can go to stores that accept Bitcoin. I mean, there are stores that don't accept Bitcoin. My store accepts Bitcoin in Arlington. So you want to come by and buy something with Bitcoin? Come on by. I'll take Bitcoin, I'll take Litecoin, I'll take most any coin you want to come in there. I'll take a chance on it. So come on in my store and buy something with some Bitcoin. Sell you some wallpaper. Overstock.com takes Bitcoin. And from what I understand, not only do they take Bitcoin, but when the day's over, they cash in half of their Bitcoin for the rate of Bitcoin at the moment, or maybe as the sale happens, I'm not sure. But during the day, they cash in half their Bitcoin for US currency, and then they keep half their Bitcoin as an investment. So that's what Overstock.com is doing. And I've heard people, some people who live off of Bitcoin, some people work for Bitcoin companies and they get paid in Bitcoin. And so they live entirely off of Bitcoin. So if you're trying to live off of Bitcoin, a way to do that is with a gift card. This is a credit card, has a app. The app takes, they take Bitcoin. So if you went to Central Market and did your grocery shopping, when you got up to the register and it said that food was $150, you could buy yourself a gift card on your phone app to Central Market with your Bitcoin for $150, go ahead and scan the QR code. So you can spend your Bitcoin that way. That's how the harder way to do it. There's a lot of companies that accept that. Or you can just go to an exchange, what I had to do for my wife to prove her that there was real money. And you go to an exchange and just cash your Bitcoin in and send it to your bank. So you can do that also. And there are a lot of exchanges to choose from. The question is, what is blockchain? Because that's the underlying technology that's been mentioned tonight. Blockchain is a continuously updated record of who owns what. That's all it is. It's an updated record, continually updated, and Bitcoin is open source. Anyone can see it. It's peer-to-peer. Basically, you got to think there's money transfer. You have banks that handle cash, and you have Bitcoin. All they're really doing, either one, is keeping a ledger system. I mean, that's all money really is a ledger system of who owns what. I bought this from you. You own it now. The banks right now keep the ledger system, the transfer of cash from one person to another. Banks are how we're used to doing it. They keep the ledger system for us now, and they're a centralized network. The bank controls everything for everybody around there. Where blockchain is decentralized. So everybody's keeping the records for everybody, basically, or not everybody, but the nodes and miners are. So we'll get into that in a minute, too. As far as hacking goes, though, a lot of people are concerned with hacking. It's a lot easier to hack a centralized location. For instance, Target, as an example. Target had one place all the stores fed into. They were able to hack into that one place and get all the credit card information. So the question is, how easy is it to hack Bitcoin? Well, because it's a distributed network with nodes all over the planet, you would literally have to hack into all those computers at one time, or over half of them at one time, to hack into Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin nodes keep the ledger system, basically, and they don't trust anyone. I run a node, and Tony, you run a node, and nodes they don't even trust other nodes. They trust no one. So if a node sends my node information and says, hey, this Bitcoin was sold from Gary to Tommy, my node goes, you say that, but I don't think I really believe you. I'm going to have to check this out myself. And then it checks it out and says, that information is correct. And it puts it in the blockchain. But if your node is lying to my node's going to go, oh, you're a liar, and I caught you. I'm not talking to you ever again. So because of the fact that you're going to get cut off, people aren't like setting up nodes that are talking because you have to hack into so many at one time because a node does not even believe another node. I don't even know if I explained that properly enough, but that's the scoop on it. And a node is a computer. Doesn't take much to set up. You go to bitcoin.org, instructions are there. It's not very hard to set up. It downloads an entire record of the blockchain on your computer. So you're running and you're part of the Bitcoin experience. You're helping support Bitcoin. You don't get paid any money for it. Why is just running in the corner? But you can put a wallet on your node. And so when someone sends Bitcoin to your wallet on your node already helps process it. So it gets a faster confirmation. But Bitcoin can be hacked, and one of the things that can be hacked are exchanges. Exchanges can be hacked. The first one that was really hacked was Mt. Gox, was the name of the first one that was hacked. Mt. Gox, someone made, Mt. Gox was a gaming website for, what game was that?
Magic the Gathering.
Magic the Gathering. And this guy decided to create a Bitcoin exchange. And he created it, and it took off really fast. And he was like, oh my gosh, I don't know anything about the banking system. There's laws that do with this. I'm going to get in big trouble. And he sold it to somebody. And it became the main exchange for a while. And the guy who bought it, who lived in Japan, really didn't do that much with it. And someone hacked it and took tons and tons and tons of Bitcoin out of it. There'd be a lot of more Bitcoin millionaires now that lost their money in Mt. Gox. So, and that's a whole other story, but exchanges can be hacked. So that's an exchange is the place you go when you buy your Bitcoin at. Or you take Bitcoin on there and you exchange for other currencies. There's different kinds. But exchanges are kind of like a stock exchange. That would be more the way you think of it, is like a place where you go and work on stocks. But an exchange is not a bank. It's not a place to keep your Bitcoin. You never want to leave your crypto on an exchange because you're just opening it up for trouble. If that gets hacked, your Bitcoin's on it, you're like Mt. Gox, there's nothing you can do. It's gone forever. So you want to have a wallet, which we went over earlier. So keep your Bitcoin in a wallet. What I did, wallets can get expensive. I mean, some of the nicer wallets are like $150 now. So I went and bought a small computer, a ThinkPad, for $250. And I figured, for an extra $100, I'd just give me a computer. And all I did was put my wallet on it. That's the only website it's ever been to. I do my cryptocurrency deals, I turn it off, and I hide it in my house in my hiding place. So I thought that was better to use than the little thumb drive, and I didn't want to put it on my regular computer, in case I picked up spyware some long way. I didn't want a computer that's been everywhere, so I bought a computer just to put in my crypto, So I figured for an extra $100, it was a pretty safe way to go. But we do sell Bitcoin wallets at our store. So if anyone's interested in a Bitcoin wallet, you can buy one for $19.95.
Why people keep their money in the exchange?
I don't know, that's crazy. Sometimes people keep money in there though. Like I have some money in exchange, so it's really not crazy. Maybe I am a crazy person, But I have some in several exchanges in case I want to buy or sell something. Because I'm not like a big day trader, but I might buy or sell something. If I think I have some potential to make some money, and I don't want to, and so I paid to have my Bitcoin sent there, or some coins sent there, some currency sent there to begin with. And I don't want to, you pay a little transfer fee every time you transfer it. I want to transfer it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So I leave a little bit on several exchanges, So that's one reason people do is they're trading a lot. Some people trade a lot. They're buying $100,000 worth back and forth, back and forth. So really, though, as far as security goes, if you leave it on an exchange, you're pretty much taking your chances.
Who makes the wallets?
There's several companies that make wallets. But what we're talking about, there's Treasure, there's several of them. You just search wallets. Matter of fact, if you go to my site, worldwidewallets.com, you will find a list of wallets that are for computers, for phones, hard wallets, whatever. But here's an interesting story. Someone bought a wallet recently off of eBay. And they got their wallet, and it had been opened and closed, I guess. But anyway, they got their wallet, they put all their Bitcoin in it. But someone had already opened the wallet and got the C words out of there. And when they put all their money in there, someone just logged in with their C words and took all their money. So you don't really want to be trying to save $5 on your wallet. Okay, what is Bitcoin mining? Well, that's how you make your magical internet money. That's how it's made right now. Like I said, 1,800 of them a day. And mining is the process of verifying the transactions and adding to the public ledger, known as the blockchain. It's also the mean which Bitcoin are created every day. So you got to think of it this way. These mining machines, people pay a ton of money for mining machines to mine Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not a cheap thing to mine. So it's very competitive mining Bitcoin. So because it costs that much and it's a lot of electricity, the people who are doing the work are actually rewarded with Bitcoin. Okay, so that's their reward because no one would do the work. I talked to a guy Sunday at a meetup I was at. He has 100 ASIC miners, and he told me his electricity was like $30,000 a month. Now, no one's going to spend that kind of money to be approving the ledgers that they're not making any money off of it. So that's why they're awarded the Bitcoin. And as every 4 years it goes down, the amount you're rewarded, actually the Bitcoin goes up in value, so it's a never-ending less goes up in value, so the value keeps the same. But that's what mining is. Mining is just really approving transactions. Do you have a question?
Yeah. What do you need to have to start mining?
Did you mind with that laptop?
You need to have a mine. Well, that's where we're going right now. Next slide. Actually, Tony and I sell mining machines. So if you go to our store at Turnkey Mining, you can buy a mining machine from us. So that's about the only ad I really make here, but you can mine a lot of coins. There are, like I said, 1,300 coins right now. Our machines don't mine Bitcoin. That takes a much bigger investment if you want to get into Bitcoin in a way. But you can mine some of the smaller coins, and then when you get those, exchange them on an exchange for Bitcoin if you want Bitcoin. But like I said, mining is really just keeping the ledger systems. The miners do the confirmations, and they're rewarded with Bitcoins. And how to check a confirmation, here's a wallet. This is a transaction ID of the Bitcoin transaction. You just go to, for instance, you paste that ID in a blockchain explorer like blockchain.info, and it shows you how many confirmations it has. You'll see 1 confirmation, 2 confirmations, blah, 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 blah. And how many confirmations are enough? No confirmations, the transaction can be reversed. 1 confirmation might be enough for small purchases. 6 is the standard, consider standard. The bigger it is, the more you need.
The same thing applies for Litecoin and Ethereum.
Same process.
It doesn't matter what the cryptocurrency is.
I'm not going to say there's not some that don't apply that way, because I don't know all 1,300 of them.
But most.
Yeah, but for the most part.
Okay.
So I don't want to say all.
Got it.
Is it too late to get Bitcoin? I get asked that a lot. You know, here are 10 companies worth less than Bitcoin. I don't know why that slide's there, but I thought that was kind of interesting. But if we put money into perspective, Bitcoin is way over here at 41 billion. I mean, if you take all the money, look how big the balloon gets there. I mean, you know, so Bitcoin really is not that big of a thing yet. I mean, if you get to it, you probably know who John McAfee is, right? Made Norton McAfee antivirus. Everybody knows who he is. We had John on our podcast like 3 weeks ago. And John says, he said Bitcoin would be worth $500,000 by the year 2021 Bitcoin. But then he changed that to $1 million by the year 2020 because Bitcoin, he didn't plan on hitting 10,000, only planned on it being close to 10,000 by Christmas, and it was closer to 20. So he doubled his amount. But John thinks that Bitcoin will be $1 million by the year 2020, which is only 2 years away, so I better get moving, huh? But anyway, I don't know if John's right or not. I asked him, how do you come up with this number? How do you come up with this $1 million per Bitcoin? And he goes, do you think I pulled this out of the hat? Except he said it in not quite so nice a place he pulled it from. And I said, I don't know. He goes, I'm a mathematician. That's what I do, is that I do Bitcoin and I do math. You know, John owns the largest mining operation outside of China, you know, in the U.S. From what I understand now, it's close to a dam so he can get hydroelectricity, and he cut a deal with the dam. And you know, but it's the largest mining operation outside of China. So they're mining a lot of Bitcoin. But I don't know if it's going to be worth $1 million or not. Like I said, that's just what John says. You know, take it for what it's worth. But I do know this is a fact. Well, it might not be a fact. This is an average I found from a lot of sites. There are about 17.8 million millionaires on the planet. That's how many millionaires there are, approximately. Some places said 20, some places said 15. So I kind of came up with an average. And if we do the math, there's 17.8 million millionaires, 11 million Bitcoin available now. If every millionaire wanted one, they can't do it. And if millionaires decide to invest in Bitcoin, I don't think they want to buy one. I mean, if you're really rich, you aren't going to go, I just want one of those 15. You're going to go, give me 10 or 20 of those. So when it gets to that point, and with things like the NASDAQ starting the futures, the CME starting the futures, I see Bitcoin on TV all the night. Fastlane on MSNBC has Bitcoin every day on there, cryptocurrency. So that's what a lot of people are banking on, is that the demand gets up there. And then you have other people who call them conspiracy theorists or whatever you want to call them. But there's some people that think there'll be a point in time that countries are going, oh my gosh, this is going to happen. This is going to become the world currency. And if that happens, in countries like the United States, they won't mind. They'll just print money, add another zero to the ledger system, and start buying Bitcoin. And that's what will happen. And if that ever starts happening, the countries start thinking it's becoming the world currency, and they're going to, I don't know if it is or not, but I'm getting some. We better be holding some in case that happens. Then that causes a problem. So there's a lot of ways this could pick up there. McAfee, one thing McAfee did say, which I thought was funny, he said that Bitcoin would hit $1 million even if people didn't buy it, just by the amount of criminals that want Bitcoin. He said it didn't need regular people buying it to be valuable, that the criminals that want Bitcoin, because I get asked that question a lot too, don't a lot of criminals use cryptocurrencies? The funny story about that, I was reading about these cartels in Mexico, with the cash, and they got a lot of cash they put in the bank. And they had so much cash that they came up with a Samsonite suitcase, and they said, this will be the standard suitcase for cartel members to put their money in. And we're going to use this model G28 whatever Samsonite suitcase. Everybody's going to use the same one, and the bank weighed the suitcase, and it would weigh 7 pounds, so they knew the weight of the suitcase. So those little windows, you slide your check under there, maybe they slide you some cash back, and these bigger banks, they cut them just the size to fit that suitcase. And so the criminals could come in there and slide those suitcases in those holes, and then they could weigh the suitcases for the money, and they could say, okay, the suitcase weighed 8 pounds, we know that, this is 22 pounds worth of money, 22 pounds is $1 million, or whatever it is. So criminals use any kind of money, that's why they're criminals. They learn to use money, crypto money, they're using it all. So cryptocurrency is not giving them anything new they didn't have before. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
The Chase CEO today said that all cryptos will be government controlled.
It's going to become what?
Government control.
I don't think that's impossible. I think that's impossible. Not only that I don't think it's possible, I think it's impossible. And that's the craziest thing I've heard, and I don't think he knows much about crypto to say that. Or else he's just lying.
Well, you have 1,300 cryptos out there. Like, can't we just create more cryptos?
Sure. There'll probably be 200,000 by the end of the year, 300,000.
Yeah.
I mean, 300, 3,000, 2,000, 3,000. There could be a lot more. A lot of people we were thinking about making a crypto. Yeah. I mean, it's not that hard to do. We were going to make, what were we going to make, 21 billion to guarantee it would never be worth anything? That's going to be our thought. Our coin will never be worth anything, we guarantee you that. So we were just going to give it away, So we may still do that. So yeah, a lot of other scams. That's why people have to do their due diligence to study it. It's really a gamble. I mean, on a lot of it, So, but, it may be a better gamble than going to Vegas. People go there all the time knowing they're going to lose their money, and they go, oh, I got $1,000, I'm going to Vegas, I'll probably come back with nothing. Might be a better gamble than that, I don't know, because that's like a real gamble. There, people do that all day. They built those big buildings with all that money out there. So, another question people want to know is how to buy Bitcoins. This is a site I just found. I didn't know this site. Localbitcoins.com. If you're trying to keep off the tax records, I guess, you can get on this site and find people who want to sell you Bitcoin.
I'm not. I'm just.
I didn't think you were sitting here right there.
He's recording this, by the way, so.
But this is a site where people have Bitcoin and they don't want to sell it to exchange. I have no idea what the scoop is on this, but I know that they'll say, I looked at it, and you'll see people going, I have 5 Bitcoin for sale, I'll meet you in the bank of your choice. They like to meet in banks for some reason. I don't know what the scoop is, but most of them want to meet you in a bank. You can also go to Bitcoin ATM machines. There are machines in gas stations and places like that where you can just walk in and put money in, and you can buy Bitcoin. Put it right on your phone wallet while you're there. Okay, so you can do that. Coinbase is the place most people start out. It's the easiest place just to buy Bitcoin. You go in there, it takes a little bit of time to set up an account. Everybody's right about that. You got to show them your picture ID, you got to do all this stuff. Then they're going to send some money to your bank account. Then you got to tell them to give them the amounts that they send to your bank account. It takes a little while to set up, but that's where most people go. If you do want to set up a Coinbase account, if you use my referral link, when you buy your first $100 worth of Bitcoin, they'll give you $10 free. But then there are exchanges, and there are tons and tons of exchanges to choose from. In my helpful site list is Crypto Exchange Market List at cryptocoincharts.info. If you go to this site, this has a list of just about all the exchanges you could go to buy all the exchanges. Now, some exchanges take cash, like Coinbase does, some don't. You know, some take, like Binance just takes crypto. So you got to go buy your Bitcoin at some place like Coinbase and then transfer it over to Binance and buy your smaller coins with
Sure,
Bitcoin.
yeah, and the question becomes, why would you do that?
Yeah,
You know,
well, that's
I
what
mean,
you're going to buy, the smaller ones.
Yeah, perhaps, there's gotta be somebody out there who serve
Yeah.
the needs of a diversified crypto investor, for lack of a better word.
Another
Not
great
that I
site
am
is,
that, I'm just thinking out loud.
another great site is CoinMarketCap. This kind of shows you how much crypto is worth. It shows you the top on the front page, the top 100. And this kind of falls into your question you had a second ago, sir. CoinMarketCap uses an average of all the exchanges across the planet to basically to come up with their price of what coin is worth. And most exchanges, for instance, last month had Bitcoin, or last week rather, had Bitcoin at like $16,000, maybe some were 16.5, some were 15.5. But Korea, they love cryptocurrency over there in South Korea, and so their exchange had it at 20,000. So their exchange was skewing the average. So they delisted the Korean exchanges on Coinbase Market Cap. So they're no longer did that. And when they did that, the price of Bitcoin dropped, and a lot of cryptocurrencies will even drop. But it was because they were getting that outlier that was incorrect, skewing everything out of the system. So Bitcoin is higher in South Korea. They just love it over there, I guess. I'm not sure why. But it's an exchange. And exchanges are going to be priced off what local people buy and sell at. Another place for news I like is Coindesk.com, another Cointelegraph, and the Merkle. And those are all three news sites that I'll back that up for you, taking your picture there. And but those are just news sites if you want to read news, what's going on. Because if you're going to get into crypto, you really need to know what's going on, I think, and keep up with it. Then you also can listen to our podcast, CryptoCousins.com, and check out our blogs. And we have tons of videos on there, all the way from what is a node, setting up a node. We show you how to set up a node. What is Bitcoin, everything. Or you can listen to our podcast. You listen to podcasts on iTunes, Spotify, to Android. There's that, and we do that twice a week, and we're thinking about coming out with a third one a week. So we're getting a lot of listens on the podcast. And there's my contact info, and that means we're over. So, like I said, so that's it. I guess I'm going to go ahead, and I'm going to be here for a few minutes if anyone wants to ask any questions. But I'm going to go ahead and wrap that up because I see John sitting here, so maybe John wants to get out of that.